Recording in progress.
Hi everyone, good morning. Hope I'm audible. Let's create a new project. Let's learn retrofit networking library. Right. Let's choose empty activity. Let us call the application as retrofit. Simply retrofit. And it is created in the right folder. Hit finish to create this project. All right. Okay. So in order to learn retrofit, we need to search for retrofit library on Google. And we will get this square.github.io/retrofit. So retrofit is also developed by the same company which developed the JSON library for us. Also Picasso image loading library. And there are several other APIs that are developed by this third-party company. And these libraries will help us in accelerating our project pretty much quickly. So once this is done, first let us go to the download section of it and see there is an implementation details. Okay. But the latest version is not given in this particular documentation. So if you click on latest jar, you will jump into, sorry. If you click on this available on GitHub link, you will be going to github.com. And here, if you see, you will find the most recent version, which is 2.9.0. So simply you can copy this 2.9.0 and add it up to this particular retrofit networking library. So copy this Gradle dependency. Once your project is created, you can jump into Gradle scripts, open build of Gradle file, change the compile SDK target SDK to 33. In my case, it is not in your case. Now paste this implementation and write 2.9.0 and a single quote. Sync now, and then your retrofit library will be synchronized. Okay. If you keep looking further in the documentation, you will also have retrofit configuration. So retrofit is the class through which your API interfaces are turned into callable objects. So you will be creating interfaces and they will be working as callable objects and they will actually fetch and publish data. Okay. By default, retrofit will give you same defaults for your platform, but it allows for customization. Okay. Now we have got converters as well. So what are these converters? So JSON is a converter. We all have seen it. We all have worked with JSON. JSON is a converter that converts the JSON response to Java objects and Java objects to JSON responses. Okay. Such kind of library is JSON. In the similar way, we also have Jackson, Moshi, Protobuf, Wire, SimpleXML, Jaxby, and Scalars. All these are developed by the same retrofit company or the company which is responsible of developing it. Okay. But these converters, all these converters are used to actually convert, except for SimpleXML, all these converters, they will convert the JSON response to Java objects and Java objects to JSON response. If you want to convert an XML response, you can use SimpleXML library. If you want to get the data in the string format only, you can use this Scalars converter factory. Right? So these are all the converters we have. You can use any of them in combination of your retrofit. So let us use JSON converter factory because it will make it easy for us to work with it because we already know JSON, right? So simply add this implementation. Okay. Implementation in a single quotes, add this one, and 2.9.0 can be given because the latest version of retrofit is 2.9.0. The same I'm giving it to JSON. Similarly, if you want to work with other converter factories, first go to those converter factories and see how they can be used. And only then you add this dependency. And only then you can add this dependency and also mention the latest version of your retrofit library at the end of it. As I did it here, 2.9.0 for JSON, because retrofit is also based on 2.9.0. Okay. Once this is done, the next step is to hit on sync now. And while the project is synchronized, okay. So before we proceed, we will see a beautiful library called JSON placeholder. So this is developed by one of the developers like us. This is developed to just fake the REST API. So working with this will make us comfortable in working with any of the other RESTful APIs that we come across. Okay, so to fetch the response, this is what to do. For posts, these are get requests, get of posts. So these are post requests / posts. Okay, you can see the guide for usage examples. This is for fetch, listing of all the resources, creating a resource. To create a resource, you're supposed to create a title, body, and user ID for it, and only then you can okay, and only then you can actually set it up to the only then you can push it out, like you can send it out to the RESTful app service. So we will see both get and post requests with this example. All right. Okay. So let us proceed forward. So this is what is the base URL. So if you simply run this command, if you simply run this, so you get an output. So user ID is one, title is something, body is something. So if you only run posts, what will happen? If you run posts, you will get, see, if you run posts, you will get a list of posts from the user 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and so on. There are many posts. Okay. You can mention the user ID at the end of it. If I mention it to, you get a random post actually. So if you want to have a random one, you can put a slash and write random. Okay. I think that is not available. Let us see what else is available. So this is creating a resource, updating a resource. For update, we use put, by the way. For patching a resource, this one, deleting a resource is this one. Okay. Nice. So we will get posts and display to the user. Okay, we'll get some posts and display to the user. So for that, the first step that we're gonna do is add the permission screen, the permission, users permission, internet. Once it is added, go ahead and design the UI. I don't have I don't have so many tasks. So what I'll do is I'll add two buttons first. Drag a button, drop it on the screen. Drag another button, drop it on the screen. Select both the buttons. Right click, go to chains and create a horizontal chain. Now get this button to the end of the screen, and in the second button, I'll baseline this to first button. So by changing the first button, obviously the second button would also change. That's how it is. Nice. So the first button I would like to call it as get, because I want to do get request. And the second button I would like to call it as post. Nice. So I like to have a text view. So to display the results, actually, put the top constraint to the top of the screen, bottom constraint to the top end of one of the buttons, left to left and right to right. You can also make this as match constraints on both the ends. Let's maintain some 8 dips of space from all the sides of the screen. Nice. So this text view size can be improvised. So let's say 20 SP. 20 SP is too much. 16 SP is sufficient. Let's make it bold italic. Nice. Instead of text view, loading data. So this is gonna be our UI, and we forgot one thing, and it is progress bar. So in the widgets, you'll have progress bar. Drag it, drop it on the screen. Set the top constraint to the top of the screen. Bottom constraint to the bottom end of the screen. Left to left and right to right. So this progress bar has an ID called progress bar, and find that. This text view has an ID called text view. And these two buttons should have an on-click event handler. So simple design only, I'm not complicating it. So in the first button, in the on-click method, I'll say get data, because this is the method this is the method I want to create on main activity. In a similar way, for the second button, we can say on-click as a post data. So you know how this will be handled. Very simple. All right. So now you have to have a URL. Okay? Before that, let us connect the text view, and also let us connect the progress bar. Progress bar. Now what do? We will simply add text view here. Text view is equal to FBB r.id.text view. Nice. The similar way, for progress bar also you do the same. Progress bar is equal to FBB r.id.progress bar. Simple. For these kind of errors, you know how to handle them. You just have to go to build and click on clean project, and that will fix it for you. Now, by default, the progress bar should not be visible to the user. So set visibility to invisible. This is all this we have been doing from a long time. So when get data is pressed or when put data is pressed, what will we do? We'll set the progress bar's visibility to visible state until we perform the task. We put it in the visible state. Copy this, paste it. Right. All right. So how do we perform the retrofit request? There are hundreds of tutorials available. If you're a beginner, I recommend you to go through a tutorial and do it. Okay. Otherwise, once you get some experience on using the retrofit library, you can directly jump into these kind of official documentation. Okay. You need not to reinvent the wheel, guys. Please remember. Okay. You need not to reinvent the wheel. Everything is online. You can make use of it, integrate the components together, and you will get the output just like that. Also, along with the benefits, you also have disadvantages. One of such disadvantages is not remembering the code at all. All right. And that's fine. And that's fine. As long as you have good internet connectivity, you need not to remember code. Conceptual understanding is necessary. Code you need not to remember. Because I don't remember code. I give interviews, I take interviews, I don't remember code at all. I just explain the things conceptually when I'm into an interview. And when I'm taking an interview, I will also see how good is the conceptual understanding of a particular candidate. So the conceptual understanding, if it is strong enough, then yes, everything falls in place. They can use Google and get the things done. Nowadays, people are using ChatGPT as well. Crazy. So if you go to the introduction, you see that we have to create an interface and we have to call it as get request. And the return type of this method also has to be mentioned. And finally, the list of repositories must be created. For all these things, we need model classes, guys, because repo is a model class here. So for repo model class, what do? We'll have to have this post request running in. What if I have a slash at the end of post? I still get the same output. What if I don't have a slash at the end? Still get the same response. Can simply copy this one. Or you can copy the response directly. Go to JSON schema to Pojo website. This we have been using from a long time. Now you must be comfortable with it. Remove this one, place your response as rename the class name to source. This is JSON response, and I don't want any annotation style. Annotation style is none. Use primitive types, use long integers, etc. Include getters and setters, include constructors. Nice. Don't allow additional properties and simply hit on zip. You will get 2 files if I'm not wrong. So let us open this folder which is downloaded for us. Extract the contents of it. Extract the contents of it. Now jump into com example source.java. Only one class we got. So if you copy this class, go back to your Android Studio. Where is it? Yeah, here it is. Jump into this main activity where it is present. There in the package, under the package, you just have to paste this source.java. Once it is done, you see that user ID is there, ID is there, ID is there, body is there. Okay, generated annotation is not necessary. I'm removing it. Nice. So Novux constructor is used for serialization. So when you implement serializable, you won't have a problem at all. Okay. Once this is there, now jump into the folder and create a service. So Java class, let us call it retrofit service. Select an interface and hit OK. Okay. So once this interface is created, we are supposed to create a method based on the documentation. As per the suggestion given by the documentation, you're supposed to maintain this one. Okay. So I will be returning the call object from retrofit, guys. Generally, when I say call, people are choosing Android.telecom call. No, we are supposed to choose retrofit call. And in the retrofit call, what are we expecting? We are expecting a list of source data classes. So list of source. So list has to be imported. That is not already imported. And we'll say get data is the method. So the method name is get data, and I'm not passing any parameters. Because if you see the documentation, you can also pass parameters mentioning @path and then defining the variable name. So this variable name goes here. Wherever you want to use it, there it goes in. And whenever you want to send data, you send data in the string user, and this user will be copied to this user, which is part of the path that is given in the get annotation. Okay, see it in Zoom. Okay, so I only have a path, but I do not have anything that needs to be added dynamically for performing my get request. So that is the reason what I'll do is I'll simply annotate with get, and then I'll mention the path. The path is posts. Because if you see in the documentation of JSON placeholder, it is clearly mentioned. Like if you go back, and here it is. So for get request, you just have to mention posts. Simple. Very simple. Now come back. Come back to the documentation. And here, once it is created, you just have to do the retrofit class, the retrofit object creation like this. So go to main activity. Let us create a retrofit object here, or service object here. Retrofit service. We'll initialize this service object in the onCreate method. So what are we doing? So we create a retrofit. Retrofit is equal to new retrofit.builder. Retrofit.builder. Build. Okay. So for retrofit.builder, what are the parameters do we need to pass? Is there any parameter that we need to pass? No. But you're supposed to pass the URL, the base URL. So we'll do it later. Base URL. So what would be the base URL? So if you see, you're getting the data out of this response, where posts are already given on the get request. Correct? The remaining part of the URL will become your base URL. You simply have to put double quotations and paste your URL there. Once it is done, you just have to mention the converter factory. I want to use JSON converter factory and I want to create it here. So JSON converter factory dot create would create it here. What is the error? Okay, how is it taken? Let us go to the retrofit library. I'll zoom it back. Click on download. JSON converter factory dot create. That is correct one, no? Okay, this is add call adapter factory. It is add converter factory. Yeah, that is the method. Sorry for the method name. So sorry. So moving on to this, once it is created, now this retrofit object can be used to initialize this service. So a simple service is equal to retrofit dot create. You can send source dot class. This is how you create a instance. So again, I'm going wrong somewhere. Retrofit create. So the class, the service name must be changed. Okay, what is the error? Okay, it is not source. Sorry, it is retrofit service dot class. That's it. sorry for that. You just have to follow the documentation properly. Okay. Source is for JSON library, right? There is a model class used for a JSON library. Okay. Now, with the help of service, we will fetch the data. Let's say, how do we fetch the data? So service dot get data. You call get data, and then you'll call enqueue method And after that, in the enqueue method, you'll write new, give a space, and add this callback list something. That's it. You get on response, non failure. And what do you do in on response? In on response, the first step that I'm going to do is I'll set the visibility of the progress bar to invisible. And after that, I will get the data and display it on the text view. So how do I get the data? So we have the response object. So if you want to get a list of source classes, let us call it source that is equal to response or body. Once you have this, you can write a for each loop for each item in the source. So source, yes, from sources, you get you get the title and display it, or whatever the content that you want to get, you get it and display it. Here, if you see, we've got body, got title. Well, let us display titles. And these are all random titles, guys. They don't have any meaning. Okay, this is just for your understanding of how to use a library. So text view, first of all, make the text views visible. Text views, first set the text to empty and then start appending the data. Append of s dot get body or sorry get title. Okay, that's it. We're done. So we can connect the device and see if we get the output. Yeah, my device is connected and I can run it. This is Wiser. Let me show my device. Nice. So if I click on get data, the progress bar started visible and then the titles are all displayed, right? So we are successful in fetching the data from retrofit library, correct? Yeah. So how do we post data? So how do we post data using retrofit library? So to post data, all we need to do is, first of all, we need to create a model object. Okay. Only if you have a model object, you will be able to create or you will be able to post it. Okay. Give me a minute, please. If there are any doubts, you may please ask me right away. Any doubts so far? Or are you clear? Guys, am I audible in the first place? I'm not sure. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Akansha. Sorry, I got trouble with my internet, so had to rejoin. Sorry. Am I audible, guys? Am I audible? Thanks, Brother Krishnan. Right. So we shall go ahead and create service class here. We know, before we create a service class, we are supposed to look into what has to be sent as a model. Okay, use your own data with Mongo mock and simple GitHub repo. You can have your own. Okay, that's fine. But what is the kind of data that you want to create? So if you write post request for post request, yeah, you can see this guide. So this guide is here, and for posting it, you have these things: ID, title, body, user ID. So with these, only you just have to method is post, body is title, body, and user ID. Only these we have: title, body, user ID. Okay, with that you can create a model class. So what I'll say is right click, go to new, choose Java class. We'll say posts model. You create a class. Now, what do we have? You have title, body, and user ID. Title is of string. So let us create a string called title. Okay, after this column, you can remove the rest and put a semicolon. And body is also a string. String, you can go ahead and put some value here. And ID is an integer. So user ID is an integer. integer user ID. User ID can be anything, any number for that matter. Okay. Once you're done, once this is done, all you need to do is create a constructor that initializes all these three. Also create getters and setter methods. So that is also quite easy. You do alt insert, choose getter and setter, choose all the three, and there you go. You can also create a normal post model empty constructor by doing alt insert constructor and clicking on select. You get an empty constructor. Once the data that you want to push is modeled using a Java Pojo, the next step is to create an interface. Abstract method. In the retrofit service, which has already been initialized, I want to do a post request. So I should write post. And what is the path? The path remains the same. It is posts only. But for most of the RESTful API services, the path after the base URL to pass a post would change. Now, what do I want to get? I want to get a callback that is based on, okay, what is this call? Is this a retrofit call? Yes, retrofit call. It is post model that I want to receive. And finally, I want to write send data. Okay, send data would be the method. So as you see it in the example, this is a RESTful service. As you see it in an example, all this is JSON. All this is converted as JSON. So we need to deserialize this data post model class into JSON response. And how do we do that? We'll mention @body, which is an annotation from the retrofit library. We call the post model and we write post model object. So when you want to send data, you send the data as post model object kind, in the type of post model, and send it to send data, which will make sure that it is sending across to the JSON type code, JSON placeholder.typecode.com. Okay, we follow the same procedure as we did for get method. We'll go to main activity. What we will do here, we'll simply create a service. We have already created a service. And in the post data method, when post data method is pressed, what will we do? We will first create the data. So post model field is equal to new post model. And what is the data that I want to give? The first one is the title. So the title is Pavan or Android training. Okay, Android training. TRAINNG training. Data publishing. That is the body. And finally, the user ID is 2. Let us suppose. Let's give 2 as the user ID. Now, the same enqueue method can be called on send data instead of get data. And everything will fall in place for you automatically. So how do you do it? Call the service object. Call the send data method. And for the send data method, you pass this PM object. Once this is sent, you can simply enqueue this with a new callback. So even after the posting is complete, when the data is published, you will get a response. So we'll simply do what? You'll simply show the progress bar's visibility to invisible. And on the text view, you will simply display this response. So text view dot set text of response dot dot body dot get user ID or get title. That's all of it. So if it is a failure, let us give a toast message. Toast failed to send data. Let's run it up and see if we are able to push data to the server. If you're able to push data to the server, you should get the response. And as I'm displaying title, I should get something like Android training. See, I got Android training here, which means that we are able to push data to the server. In the similar way, in the same way, you can also work with the put request and the other kind of request that we have here. Put post is there, put is for update, delete is for delete. Post post works like create, put works like update, post actually works like create and insert. Put works like update, delete works like delete, and get works like read. Okay. So based on the web service that is developed, we will create our own things and work with it easily. So to see this all in the real time, you can also use something like Postman. So Postman can be used online actually. I don't want to install it. So you can actually work with Postman online. Sign in with your Google account and use it for free. So I'm signing in with my account that is already there. I'm not sure if it works or not. Postman will actually let you understand how you're pushing data and what kind of data is being sent to the server. Not only that, you can actually test all your web services on this Postman. Takes a bit of time to load. I'm using my mobile data today because my Wi-Fi is not working, unfortunately. So maybe I cannot show everything related to Postman. We'll see another day. This tool we'll see another day. Hope you understood this topic. This topic is comparatively too easy to learn, right? Guys, is it an yes or a no? Anyway, I will be pushing these changes to GitHub as well, which will help you a lot. And also, I will place the classroom name. So, classroom.google.com. And in here, I will be creating a new material. Okay, a bit in the sense only a bit you understood, or a bit confusion is there. What is it? Akanksha. You said a bit, and how do I take it? A bit is not understood, a bit confusion is there, or a bit is only understood. If that is the case, I'll reiterate the same topic again. A bit understood, okay. Cool. So we will reiterate the same topic tomorrow as well. Don't worry. Yes, we'll reiterate the same topic again. Tomorrow we'll again understand retrofit. I might not be coding this again. However, I will show you how to do that. Or otherwise, let us code it again. That is not an issue from our end, right? So I will code it again for you. Don't worry. You'll understand it better. Retrofit is comparatively a bit confusing. I understand that. Just let me paste this link retrofit. Okay, tomorrow I'm making it clear. Tomorrow also we will talk about retrofit. You can ask more, right? I'm not pushing code to GitHub because anyway we are going to discuss tomorrow. So I'm not going to post this to GitHub today, right? So tomorrow we'll have the same topic, but we will go a little slow than today. Nice. See, this is the advantage you get if you give feedback, right? So if you keep quiet, if you do not say anything, we will think, we trainers think that you're understanding everything and you're coping up with the sessions. Okay, if you do not understand something, just come forward. It's okay, we'll go a bit late. What's so rushing here? Quali was quite easy, yes, I agree with that. Akansha. Quali is a bit easy, but retrofit is also easy. It's also easy. As it was new, you got confused. Even I got confused when I was learning when I was seeing retrofit for the very first time in my life. I was like confused. Why do we need to create these interfaces? Why are we calling these methods? What is going in the background? I was thinking a lot, but now it has got changed. You need not to think a lot. You need not to reinvent it. Just use whatever the components are available online. Anyway, tomorrow we'll revise the topic and it will make it easy for you. Thanks a lot, guys. Have a fantastic day ahead. Have a blast. Tomorrow we'll meet at the sharp the same time. Take care. Bye bye.